This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why hire a camera operator when the control is in your hands? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. And by NewTek, makers of the TriCaster TC1. Stun your viewers, not your accountant. Visit newtek.com for more information.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Game Time, and we have an interesting show for you today because I'm really excited. Fast and the Furious is on its way out. Well, actually, it's on its way of coming out. Actually, it's going to be shipping. But there's something missing. There's something fishy going on. And I think Jayde has done some investigative work. And, well, we won't spoil it for you. What's going on, Bill?
Hello, everyone. I'm here.
You look depressed. Is it all this Fast and the Furious news?
It is.
You look really depressed. You look like your dog just died.
Okay, maybe not that bad.
Jayde's here. She's happy. Well, for right now, she's happy. Yeah, there's some stuff to talk about today. Moat, you got to make the face when you heard the news. What was the face, Moat? Because we didn't.
Yep.
We told Moat what was going on, and he's just like, wait, what? And that was the face, the space ace face, right?
Yeah. Yep. So before, because I know I'm going to be negative tonight, chat. Let me inject some positivity into you all. Let me quote one of the best animes of all time: "Fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight, never running from a real fight. She is the one named Sailor Moon." All right, let's go.
All right.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna talk more than just obviously Arcade 1-Up, because there's some other stuff to talk about. But this is something that I know because I pre-ordered. I know Jayde's getting a review unit. Some of you guys are kind of on the fence whether you should pre-order it or not. Well, let's just get right into it.
Arcade 1-Up. News and notes.
See, I think that even went fast. The Arcade 1-Up sign went away fast, kind of like Fast and the Furious. I don't know.
Dad joke incoming.
Yeah, well, hey. All right, so let me do this. Let me pull up the information that you had given us, and let's why don't you run through it real quick? Run through the laundry list.
So first of all, this is a courtesy of WRP because that's where I pulled this screenshot from.
Well, tell weekly retro party because not everybody knows what WRP is.
Okay, right.
Okay.
The Fast and the Furious fast facts. Here's some quick fast facts for you guys. Har har.
Oh boy.
Up to 4 machine local link multiplayer, Wi-Fi leaderboards, 2 games included, Fast and the Furious and Fast and the Furious Drift. Graphics upscaled to 960p at 30 frames per second. Customize and save your cars. 8 licensed cars. Chevrolet Camaro, Ford GT, Ford Mustang GT, Nissan 350Z, Nissan Skyline GTR R34, Pontiac Solstice GXP, Saline S7 Twin Turbo, and 19 total street courses. So I think where everyone's probably their eyeballs are going to is the 8 licensed cars.
Wait, Jayde.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the Super, right? Vin Diesel Super, right?
Vin Diesel Super.
Yeah, the Supra, the red Supra with the dragon.
Supra,
Yeah,
right?
We're gonna have that so we can drive it, right?
Do you see it on? Do you see it on the
that
list?
that wasn't Vin Diesel didn't drive a Super. He drove a Mazda RX-7.
Well, okay, so this was the
Paul
one they
Walker
fixed.
had the
Paul
Toyota
Walker
Supra.
fixed this up. Okay, well they fixed up. Okay, well what about the? Well, they gotta have the Charger, the Challenger, right? That's got to be in there. That's Vin Diesel's dad's car, right? That's got to be in there. Okay. If that's not going to be in there, well, okay. The green Eclipse, the one that's on the side of the cabinet, the staple of the Fast and the Furious series, the green Eclipse, my favorite car in the whole movie. Wait, why aren't you saying anything? Are you telling me this is not also in the game?
Well, according to that bullet right there, that's what you get.
What about Jesse's Jetta, the white Jetta? You gotta have Moat, tell her, you gotta have Jesse's Jetta in there. Come on.
The inline 6, right?
Yeah. Okay. All right. What about Suki's pink? I forget what kind of car it was, but it was
S2000.
S2000, yeah.
Honda S2000. Okay, that's got to be in there, right? These are all staple characters in the movie.
Yep.
Nothing.
That's true.
They're not even in there.
I only see it saying 8 licensed cars.
Funny thing is, I was on that show last night too. I was on it, and because of the shenanigans that were going on in the chat, I didn't even really get to even pay this any attention. I didn't.
So wait. Okay, so I'm seeing a trend here. We announce a product, we put it out there, everybody gets excited about it. Everybody pre-orders. No, they put the pre-order date up. Everybody pre-orders, and I know the naysayers are going to be like, "That's why we tell you not to pre-order." But hear me out. We pre-order, then, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. The facts start trickling out about the game. Didn't we experience this with another cabinet that came out that had to do with like 4 players and a football, and like everybody pre-ordered and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, didn't we see this with the last few cabinets that have come out with Arcade 1-Up? They got your money, they got your pre-order, and then the facts started coming out about the game, and now people are mad. I'm personally mad because the Eclipse is my favorite car. Again, I told you guys I want it for the franchise. That to me is the franchise. That car. And now you're telling me it's not there.
So it said licensed vehicles, right? But you've got to fill those spots in the game with something. So I'm wondering if the frames and all the data is still there and they're just don't have the license on it. Fingers crossed, question mark. Jay, maybe, yes, no. Give people some hope.
My understanding at this point is that you can't use the image of the vehicle without permission from the company or the licensee, right? Licensor? Licensee.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Sure, we'll go with that. Go ahead.
But you cannot use the image of a vehicle without permission from that automobile company. And then there's also stipulations that go along with using those vehicles in the game. So I had to do like a little bit of research about licensing to kind of understand this better. But essentially, from what I understand, those 8 licensed vehicles are the only selectable vehicles between both games.
Oh, so okay. So we're only getting 8 vehicles that we can choose from on either game. There's not even like different vehicles for the different games.
That is my understanding of the situation right now. Yes.
John, if you're watching, you need to confirm this. We need to know this. Is there 24 cars and only 8 are selectable? Because this is ridiculous. Only 8 cars?
Now, here's the thing. Do you have those flyers for that I sent you for the original arcade games?
What do you want? Which one do you want first? Do you want the Fast and the Furious first?
Let's just do the Fast and the Furious first.
Okay, I'll pull that up there. All right.
All right. So there was actually several different models of this machine made, from stand up to sit down to this sit down with like the mega screen on it. But if you, I'm sorry, I can't really see that. Can you zoom into like the features on it?
Yeah. Actually, let me push it. Yeah.
I want to show you guys the features on here so that you can see what the original version offered off the bat. And if we're looking here, it says 12 action-packed tracks. Now, 19 on the A1UP version includes tracks from the first and second game in total, which is correct in that it has all the tracks. There's no tracks missing. 17 tricked out rides. So in the first game alone, there was 17 vehicles that you could choose from. 20 customization levels. Awesome motion. I don't know if that means like 60 FPS. And then this is talking about the screen that this particular model is on.
I think the motion might be the blur effect when you hit the nitrous. I think that might be the effect that they're talking about.
It could be.
It's either that or this was a sit-down one. Maybe the seat, maybe it moved.
Yeah, maybe.
Was on one of them? Didn't it have
There
like
there
where the
isn't
seat kind of moved a little as you played?
there isn't also like a huge motion effect when you hit the nitro or nitrous, by the way. Like the car goes fast and like things are speedy, but it's not like super crazy blurry or anything. I think that there's like a misconception that that's supposed to happen in this game. In this particular game, it's not very exaggerated.
Now, is this the one that you have currently, or is this a different version of what?
This is the one that I have currently.
Okay.
It's just that mine has a CRT in it. Not it's not on a big screen like this one.
But still, it's the same.
The Tsunami big screen.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, do you want me to go to the Tokyo Drift one now?
Yeah, so then let's look at Tokyo Drift.
Okay, let me see here. I might have to finagle this around here. Let me uncrop it. What are we looking for? The features right there?
Yep.
All right, let me
that's not it though. 650 pounds. That is
Holy
a
crap. The thick
beast.
Where are the features at the top?
I don't know, Steven.
Right there. I guess that's it, right? Right. Save stats.
No. Oh, right there.
There you
there.
go, right there.
Okay. I didn't
Okay.
see
So
that.
19 action-packed tracks. Now this game included all the tracks from the original Fast and Furious. So in total, you get 19 tracks, 12 tricked out rides, and purchasable upgrades, and 8-way link. Okay. So the thing with the cars is that it's 17 in the first one, 12 in this one, but there's about, I think, 10 shared, which brings you to a total of 24 cars altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind. But the bottom line is that between the two games, there was 24 cars. So according to what Arcade 1UP is telling us, we have all the tracks, but we only have 8 selectable vehicles. And in those 8, I think there's only 2 that were staple cars in the second Fast and Furious, and then Tokyo Drift, which would be the 350Z and the Skyline. And the rest of them, now any cars that don't have a top on them, my understanding for that is that they couldn't have like Vin Diesel sitting in them, because in the arcade game, he's sitting there and he's bald headed and he's got sunglasses on. So I don't know if that's like his image that they're using, like he's on the side art with Paul Walker as well. And so I'm just assuming that they couldn't use that graphic because they didn't have the licensing.
So put somebody else in there with hair.
I don't know, but maybe the licensing for the vehicle said you can't have anybody in the car.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, because people
true.
were noticing that with the convertibles, it looks like nobody's driving them.
Yeah, people were saying that. Real quick before we move on, Mo, you got a super chat here from Console Fanboy. If you want to read that, I don't know if he's. Yeah, I know he's gonna.
I effing love Mo. Awesome MK stream earlier. #respect. Oh yeah. Yo, thank you. Yeah, we were just doing the things. Thank you for the super chat. That's great. It's not my channel. I don't know what to say. Yo,
no. He was saying. Well, he was saying it to you.
But yeah, man, your Mortal Kombat got played today. It was cool. But yo, so just real fast. So all the tracks in a third of the cars between both games.
Right.
That's what bothers me. Like,
so I so I swear I was asking about this. I was like, dude, like, and you know what I'm kind of bothered about this because I literally put a video out like an hour ago. So yeah, and I was putting this cab over. I was like, yeah, this is great. That's great. A third of the cars. Not even if like they went back in and went and changed the ROM and put like proxy cars in or something. So we don't even know if they did that. So
Well, here's another thing too, and sorry to interrupt you, but just real quick, I was looking through the footage last night, and I did see like a Cadillac in there at some point, which obviously is a Chevy car, and they do have cars from Chevy in there.
yeah,
And
I
so
saw
I
that.
was thinking like maybe they only have or maybe they have like licenses to show other cars as you're driving. But I also noticed that the roads didn't look as crowded as they do, and I don't know if that's like an
Right.
option you can change, but I noticed they
yeah.
didn't look as crowded as they do in the arcade game.
Yeah, that was one of the things we said. Was like, where was the crowd at the beginning of the race and towards the end of the race? Like,
Yep.
yeah, it was weird. Like, and I was trying to give them like, okay, well, that's not there. And then I'm like, well, the footage looks up. I'm like, but benefit of the doubt, off camera, not showing 4-player. Like, see, it's gonna sound bad because now I'm burying this cabinet. I literally just put a video out. But like realistically speaking, if you're selling a cabinet, you take Paul Walker and Vin Diesel off the side of the cabinet. Cool, whatever, right?
Yeah, right.
But
Yeah,
what's the purpose of leaving the freaking Eclipse on the side? Use the artwork from Drift if you need to. I mean, like,
Or they could have
Bro.
put the skyline and did Too Fast, Too Furious and made it their
right,
own
or
cabinet,
something like
right?
because real talk at this point now, Arcade One Up's catfishing, like legitimately, like yo, that's a because look how long it took for this information to come out. These things went up for pre-order on 4/20, right? So they waited a whole week, you know what I'm saying, and they got their bag from everybody. You know how y'all know how Best Buy is. Y'all order something from Best Buy, you got to go through hell and high water to get your money back if you want to get a refund. And now it's just like they're not saying this stuff directly on that one update because they'll get hell for it. So instead, let's give and I feel bad for Nick, man. I feel bad for UAG because now it's just like yo, like he's the fall guy for this. You know what I mean?
Well,
Again,
can we talk about what you and Jade figured out with this ahead of time? I mean, just by watching it, about how they're only showing the Tokyo Drift tracks. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Which was the next thing I was about to say.
Yeah.
They're only showing, and they've only shown the same track from Drift. Okay, it hasn't been different tracks. It's been the same track, and they've showed they haven't showed Race Wars. They haven't showed like any of that from Fast and Furious 1, and it makes sense why they're not showing it because they don't have the cars available to show it. And if anybody who plays a game who's buying it for the marquee title sees that it is screwed up, dude, they are going to flip tables.
I was mad this morning.
It's
I
catfish.
really was.
It's a catfish. Like legit.
I think too, like think about fans of the franchise. You're a fan of the franchise. You see that there's this Arcade One Up Fast and Furious arcade thing that has steering wheel, and you're like, oh, that's so cool. You can play like the Fast and Furious arcade games. I love this. I love maybe you love the game, or maybe you just love Fast and Furious and you want to get it. And you're thinking by looking at it that all those marquee cars are just going to be in there, because like, right?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, you open it up and build it and everything, and then you're like, "Where's my Supra? Where's my
Exactly?
Eclipse? Where's my, And so, I think that's one of the things that obviously, if they're listing the cars at this point, like that's something. So at least people know what they're going into. I hope that they list the cars on the box because so people can see that. But I just think,
I would doubt that.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be in-betweeners that are just like, oh, neat, it's Fast and Furious, it's a racing game, and they buy it because they're fans of that name and don't really know anything about it. But then I think that there's going to be fans that aren't really huge on arcades or anything, but think it's cool and they buy it and then they start playing it and they're like, where the hell's my Supra?
Well, I'm both.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more than that. It's literally a casual fan, even a casual who's seen freaking Fast and Furious. Because let's be real, they air it like every freaking Friday or Saturday on TNT or something like that, right?
Right.
So you've seen this movie a bunch, and you don't see Dom Toretto, you don't see the mother effing Charger, like you don't see that, and that's not a problem. You don't see the Eclipse like cars. The S2000 from one, if you don't include that, fine, whatever. You don't see the Jetta, dude. Like you don't see like iconic vehicles, dude. You don't see Vin's vehicle, like
you have
these
to
cars
have,
in the game, and you don't have this stuff. If I buy this and I'm a casual fan and I'm expecting, I'm gonna get around, I'm gonna get to drive, and I'm gonna do the memes because nothing's more important than family. And I don't get to do that.
Yep.
No,
well, let me ask you guys.
no.
Mike Worley in the chat room, he says, he comes down, he goes, intentionally withholding information? ? Or conveniently not mentioning it. And I what do you guys think? Do you think this was?
I mean, I think that it could be a combination of those two, or just like pure ignorance, like not looking into like the fine details, or the combing the fine lines, so to speak. It could
Well,
be a combination of all three of those things.
Yeah, no, look, I'm sorry, but when John D announced this cab, he said some of the cars were missing.
Yeah, not most.
Right.
I'm sorry, 2/3 is not some. I'm sorry, 2/3. I'm sorry, no. So this intentionally. I'm sorry, I'm down. I saw that thing from Mike Worley. I'm like, no, man, it's intentional. He absolutely was not going to mention how many were missing because people would have thrown a fit.
I'm sincerely, and Jade knows because she called me this morning. She's like, I got to talk to you. She wanted to break it to me before I got on the show here because I was listen. I was beside myself, and listen. I understand the licensing. She kind of explained it to me, but as a fan of arcades, as somebody who was looking for this, kind of like it would be like you Marvel versus Capcom guys, all of a sudden not having Captain America, Spider-Man, Ryu, Blanca,
Right.
Yeah.
in that cabinet,
absolutely.
and saying it's Marvel versus Capcom 2. Mo, are you going to call it Marvel versus Capcom 2 without those characters?
Blanca's not in the roster, but yeah, no.
Did you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm come on,
no.
I'm not a
Listen,
You take away my Wolverine and I'm
a
rioting.
Wolverine. There you
you
go.
can't take away 2/3 of the roster. Like in anything, I don't care what you do. You can't take away 2/3 of the roster. If you take away 10% from Blitz and whatever else, 92% or whatever, what is it, 92%, 90 or something like that from Blitz? All right, fine, whatever, cool. You put in proxy players. They did that on NBA Jam. Fine, whatever. This is a car game. This is different.
Yeah.
You're catering to a movie franchise at this point. It's not just people who want to own arcades. You're catering to the movie franchise.
That's right.
And you so happen to be lining it up upon the release of Fast 10. Oh no, that catfish is real. Like somebody needs to go get an old boy from How to Catch a Predator and tell John D and them to come sit at the table. Go get J-Lo and bring him in here too. This is ridiculous. Like, and it's not.
And let's put this out there.
I didn't even think about it last night. I didn't.
Let's put this out there too before everybody goes burning and torching Travis on Twitter. He had no idea about this.
Yeah,
he had zero idea about this because
he wasn't even involved in the.
Well, Jade
launch.
went to him and asked him, "Do you know anything about what cars are missing?" He's like, "I honestly, I don't know what cars are missing." You got this from Weekly Retro Party. Who got it from John D? So,
yeah, and when this happened, there was a bunch of shenanigans happening in the chat, and I'm too busy trying to mediate that. So, yeah, there. Again, I feel bad for Nick, man, because this is going to be a whole...
and that's why we were saying, like, Nick last night, him. I know OTG, he was having some issues with his computer and stuff, and so I went back and watched it after Jade was telling me this because I was I didn't get to watch it last night, and I'm watching it, and I'm going, you gotta be kidding me! You're not putting these cars in there, and like, I don't know. You guys really didn't say much, and I don't know if it was just OTG. He was having some technical issues, so he didn't really say much. And I know you didn't, but Nick was just kind of like, "Yo, this sucks." Like that was kind of like his response, and like I don't know, man. I
think like here's the thing is, so Raw Thrills ported it, so it wasn't like Arcade went up like really devved it, and obviously like I don't know what the relationship is between Arcade One Up and Raw Thrills as far as licensing and then the automobile companies and the franchise. I mean, there's so many different angles as far as the licensing. Now, with the game itself, it is, just to clarify for people, it is a port done by Raw Thrills to Arcade One Up. So it's a port of the arcade version, but you're only getting 8 of the vehicles. You're getting, and 30 frames per second. Those are the two big downgrades, so to speak. And then the rest of the game is allegedly there. Now, with that being said, I think it's important for people to have a little bit of perspective on the way that licensing works. And this is not to excuse the way that this whole situation has occurred, just as far as like the exposure of the game and what people are actually getting with it. But it's more so that you guys can kind of have an idea of how fickle licensing is and how ridiculous it is, and how there's so many different relationships and things that you have to look at. But I sent Steven this, and this is in regards to Forza. And it says, if you look up here, official Instagram account confirms that car damage is limited by licensing. damage model is so bad in Forza. And then somebody replies, it's bad in basically every modern racing game because of licensing. And then Forza Motorsport says this. And that's just a quick example on the fly of like how much licensing can affect like even the visual level of a game. And so I don't know what the relationships were with these companies, but it's crazy to think that Toyota and who's the other one? Dodge, Mitsubishi, like those three didn't bite off on it. And, then you have to wonder, like, well, what's that relationship to licensing? Like, how much was the cost? What were they asking? And what were their stipulations about it? And so there's a lot of other things that do go into it. Now, with that being said, I think that the major problem here, the major issue here is that we didn't know right away when they announced the game that we could have had that bullet or that flyer that we showed at the beginning of the at the stream, and then everybody would have known right up front, okay, so it's going to be at 30 frames per second and we're only getting 8 cars. And then people could have been like, all right, well, that is what it is, like, and you can call it what you want to call it, and you could even relate it to like blitz late hits, like even though that was an NFL thing. But it's all this crazy licensing stuff that goes along with it really can affect the final product of some of these modern ports that we're getting. So I personally am just very disappointed to know that you're not going to have the Supra or the Mitsubishi and the Charger, like those 3 cars right there. Like I was very disappointed to see that like those are literally not an option. Now the question is that one of the things that I asked Steven yesterday was, I really wonder if those vehicles are still going to be in the game. It's just that they're back, they're in the background and you need some, crypto SD card to be able to unlock them. If that'll be a possibility. But even if it is a possibility, the issue still stands that the normal consumer going to buy this cabinet thinking that they're getting the full Fast franchise, experience in this game, and then they get in there and see that they're not able to play, as a Charger, Challenger, or the Supra, they're going to be like very disappointed and be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. And go ahead.
Go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
Okay.
It's all you, man.
Fine, cool.
It's all you, man.
All right, cool. Well, thank you. It's just more of the transparency thing. Like they did this whole stream to talk about it. And if they would have said all this up from the jump, they did say 960-30. John said that, but if they would have been like, hey, we only have X amount of cars, whatever else, right? Because then the question would have been the same question I asked now. Did Raw Thrills put in proxy cars instead in their place? They don't have to be the same shape. Like MG said, doing GTA. GTA does this crap all the time. Like literally GTA, when the Ford GT came out, what did they call it? They called it the it's the $2.6 million car on GTA. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like they do that all the time. You could do the same thing on the cabinet, but be honest about it. Like for a lot of people, that's 2/3. I don't want 2/3 of anything. I don't care. That's 33% of the effort.
I agree with that. And we got a super chat here from Console Fanboy. He says, so he goes, One Up is cutting corners again. There's a shocker. Well, here's the other thing. So Weekly Retro Party, and you guys can all go back and watch this. They did the show yesterday, OTG and Nick, your average gamer. And I was watching it, and they had some exclusive footage of, the 4-player cabinets. And so I was excited. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. We're going to get to see 4 cabinets and these guys playing it and maybe somebody panning, as they're playing this. And instead, we got background what sounded like multiple people playing. You could see numbers above the cars, and you got the same footage essentially that we showed and other content creators showed last week. Like, are you like One Up? Are you intentionally trying to do this? Are you intentionally trying to get people fired up? Because that's what it did. Like I'm sitting there watching this, going, "This is ridiculous. This isn't even like."
It goes to show that they're still having some serious disconnects with their marketing department and the way that these things are coming out. Like, I think it seemed like it started off good. Like, okay, all right, we have like a press release thing. We have, like an official video and a trailer. and you're really seeing what it looks like. Okay, they talked about it being at 30 FPS, but this is like something that I feel like is a huge disconnect. And it's like, how does something like this come out of marketing, knowing that you have like a community space that's very aware of things that are going on, and like trying to keep tabs on things, because people don't want to be duped, like especially people that are in our community, like the normies. It may or may not matter to, depending on whether or not they're hardcore fans of the franchise. But I think my point is just kind of like, this is, in my opinion, a huge slip up from the marketing department. Like, this could have easily been done. Like, you have a meeting where you're talking about Fast and the Furious. You're listing off every single thing that's going to be majorly different, that people are going to notice, because there are going to be people who play this in the arcade who want to buy it and are going to expect that same experience, And I think that when it comes down to it, this is like one of the biggest things that they changed in it, is only being able to license or get licenses for 8 cars. Now, is the game still going to play the same? Is it probably going to be like, that arcade experience, so to speak, like, not, you know what I mean, but like the driving part of it. It's obviously not like the Wii version, but it's like you're missing, a huge portion of the cars. So
I figured out what happened to it. I was getting some news in the back end. Hang on a second. I figured out what happened. Let's see. This is what happened. John D just confirmed this is what happened to the Eclipse, and why it's not in the game.
Oh
no.
We're gonna find out here shortly what's gonna happen when you combine bullets and NOS, nitrous oxide.
Copyright strike.
Well, there's no audio, so
Yeah.
I think we're okay.
Okay.
So John said the Eclipse got hijacked by a bunch of a motorcycle gang here. So we're watching this. This is breaking footage right now as it's happening. Okay.
Okay.
There's a bald guy getting out of the car and some blonde guy getting out of the car. Must be one up employees, maybe. I don't know. I've never seen these guys before.
No clue who they are.
That one guy, I don't know. That one guy looks like the CEO of iArcade, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe this is an iArcade sabotage.
Oh, that could be.
Look at Boat.
I just went through this last night.
No. I'm having a little fun here.
But
seriously,
I mean, the major issue here is that I think that people need to know these kind of details right up front, and stuff like this could easily be avoided if all these things were being discussed in a large meeting, prior to their press release or whatever, because all these types of things should be questions that they are answering.
All right, hang on a second. B's saying in the chat room, he's saying Eclipse isn't in the game, the movie version isn't in it, but the newer Eclipse model is.
Yeah, the newer Eclipse,
but that's not,
meaning it's like the bug eye looking one.
Yeah, but that's not the staple Eclipse that we're looking at right now in the movie.
It was probably a licensing thing.
I get that. We've established that, but that to me,
the Super was.
How do you get the licensing for the side of the cabinet? Is it different licensing for the decal?
It's 2 different licenses.
There it goes.
Oh, there it goes.
There it goes.
Yeah, that's
why it's not there.
That's why it's not in the 1-up cabinet. You guys are watching it right now as it's happening, live from the Arcade 1-up headquarters. Yep.
It sounds like in slow motion.
She gone.
On a helium balloon.
She gone. She's still pretty broken, but she gone. Yeah, that's not cool.
Boy.
Yeah. It's all your fault, Bill.
Yeah.
Again,
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say again, I don't think the cars is the big issue. I think it's more of just not informing everybody right away. Again, and then what's the fix? And then what's the fix? Are you putting proxy cards in its place? Like that's the real question, because if that's the case, you
Well,
might as
but
well just did
they're
drift.
saying,
You know?
but what my understanding is that they can't do that because they'd be still using the image. So even if they debadged the cars or something, or debranded them somehow, they still have to have some sort of permission to use the image of the vehicle.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not saying use the direct vehicle. I'm saying use like a different vehicle in its place. You know, like a proxy. Like it's raw thrills.
Right.
They could easily just like pull something from like an old cruising or something and then just like inserted it in. You know, like that's what I'm saying. Like that
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah. But I think like my understanding is in its entirety that yeah. Oh wait, actually,
Do you want to? Well,
wait,
while
no,
you're
no, no,
looking
no,
that up,
hold
let me
on.
read that.
I literally just got a text message.
All right, let me read the super
and
chat while you get that together real quick. Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger. Hey everybody, hope the 8 cars was a typo. All right, Jade. That's why I wanted to put that out there because you just got a text.
Okay, yeah. So because I've been asking Travis about this, and he said confirmed it is just those 8 cars. That's it.
Oh boy. All right. So wait a second. Hang on. Console fanboy, he put one in here. I must have missed it, the super chat as it went through, but he says, "Thank God, One Up didn't ruin my he said run my childhood. I think he meant ruin my childhood. I would have had peanut butter without the jelly, cereal without the milk, cheeseburger without the cheese. One Up sucks."
You messed up the joke, console fanboy. You know what I'm saying? Kool-Aid, no sugar, cereal, no milk, ham, no burger. That's the way it's supposed to go. But yeah.
I apologize. It went
Slap,
by. It went by. I didn't see it. Adam's been sending me, and he'll tell me when they come through. Yeah, he said I missed it. That was my fault because I was scheduling up stuff. But we appreciate.
I mean, like it. I mean, at this point, it just really comes down to like whether or not you just want to play a fun racing game and you don't care.
Yeah,
because
this isn't fast enough.
That's what it's going to come down to. I mean, unless there's like some other mechanic that's missing from the game.
Do you know what this reminds me of, Jade? This reminds me of you getting the graphics for Fast and the Furious, and you modded your Street Fighter cabinet because there's 50 million Street Fighter cabinets, and you happen to have one, and you put what like a racing game on it, and because it has the sticker on the side for Fast and the Furious, you call it Fast and the Furious, but it's not Fast and the Furious.
What did you just say? I didn't. Really
so like if you mod, like let's say you have three Street Fighter cabinets in your collection, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna mod one, which is what most people did when the first gen came out. You slap your own Fast and the Furious decal on the side, and you put a buy stuff stores racing stuff in it, and a steering wheel, and you call it the Fast and the Furious. That's what I feel like's happening with this right now. This is gonna blow up in their face. This is gonna be a bad PR.
I mean, like, I don't know whether it's actually going to blow up in their face or if it's just going to sell because it's the Fast and the Furious. Like,
you're buying the sticker.
I think from people that are inside of this space and that are like enthusiasts or arcade 1-up enthusiasts, like it may not go well for arcade 1-up from their point of view. And and as a coin ops enthusiast, and for those who are enthusiasts for coin ops as well, like obviously you can't compare the two, but I mean to see something go from a coin op and be ported with the potential to have everything there, but you can't, for whatever reason it is also very disappointing, especially like key cars, like those staple cars. Like they could have added 3 more cars to just make it so much more satisfactory.
But they're all good cars though, minus the Pontiac Solstice.
Right.
Well, no,
I'm
not challenging. I'm not challenging that they're not good cars that are in there. I'm not challenging that at all.
What I'm saying, it's more about the transparency thing. It's the same thing that everybody's been
exactly.
About
That's
for
all
almost the last year now. And then the whole purpose of this whole show, you know what I mean? The whole purpose, and again, this ain't on Travis. Travis had nothing to do with this, right? But the whole purpose of putting somebody in that situation, in that position, is to inform the community. Because the casuals, one out of every 10 might care, but for the hardcore, for people in this space, that's kind of a big deal. And
Well,
like,
but franchise fans too. I feel like you have to add them
Right.
into this too, because this is a huge franchise.
But
and
I'm a
people know
franchise
what kind of
fan, and
cards-
I'm disappointed by this because
Well,
I was hoping to
obviously, but
play.
you're also a one-up. You're also technically a one-up enthusiast. So
Well,
you're
I
in the
am, but
community.
I'm also thinking like if I would have been thrilled if it just had the 4 main cars in it: the Supra, the Eclipse, the Challenger, the Charger, whatever, and
Look at Bill's face. Bill.
and the Mazda, the RX-8 or whatever, the RX-7, RX-8. I would have been thrilled with those, and then they could have put whatever else cars in there because those are the staple cars, in my opinion.
Crazy thing is, I wouldn't even care if all the cars went in there. They could have gave me the Supra, and then they could have gave the Charger.
At least the Supra.
Right.
If you can't have the Eclipse,
Supra,
if you can't have the Eclipse, the Supra,
RX-7, like just a combination of 2 of the cars.
Yes,
that would have been fine. Then you get a 10 car roster.
100%.
It gives you more, and it gives you a little bit more options.
Give us one of the main staple cars.
Yeah,
They didn't even.
I think. Yeah, I mean the Skyline's a good one.
It is a staple to
much,
second movie. I get it. It is. It is a staple to second movie.
Yeah, the Skyline's like probably one of the best like franchise vehicles that they have in this. But I mean the point still stands. Like we're sitting here talking about 1 out of 8 cars that are mildly appealing. Like of course Sailin's cool, GT and all that, but it's like that's pretty much the same car just rebranded with a little bit more juice. So it's really like you even the cars that we are getting, like at least 3 of them are very redundant. And then the Pontiac Solstice, like Mike said, like, are you serious with that?
You might as well put a freaking PT Cruiser in the game.
Why couldn't they have done something like this on the side of it and then put Fast and the Furious above it? Why couldn't they have done that?
Well, technically,
because that's a soundtrack.
Well, I know it's a soundtrack. But I'm just saying.
Technically, they should have used the Tokyo Drift side art because there was no people on that side art. It was just like cars. I don't even know.
Mode even said that. He said, "Why didn't you use it?" Kongs wants to know. Kongs wants to know. So last night on the weekly retro party, they showed the graphic. Jade screenshotted this, so they get the credit here. They got this from John D. I'm going to pull it over here real quick. This was what was sent to Best Buy. But we wanted to talk about this because we feel like everybody needs to know about this, but then also understanding the licensing side of it. Mm-hmm. But I think we all agree on the panel, and I think even the chat room agrees, this should have been released the day they did the 1UP to announce this, the 1UP show to announce this.
It should have been on that stream 100%. With John.
This should have been on there. That's all we're saying with this. Yeah. Like, this is information that was pertinent to this cabinet. This could have, determined whether people are going to pre-order it or not. And I think that's why it was withheld, because they knew people were going to go, oh, really? My favorite, the Eclipse, the Supra, they're not going to be on. I ain't buying this thing.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to be sitting there wearing a BMW or a Honda symbol on their neck while they're playing this. That's not what we're saying.
No.
Just give people the information.
Yeah, that's all. That's all.
Like, and to John's credit, he did say it was going to be 960p, 30 frames per second. He did say that out the bat.
He did.
Everything was there. Everything was there minus the cars. But I mean, like we're being honest here. Like the cars play a huge role in part of what is appealing about a racing game. It's just like with Cruis'n USA. Look, there's out of that whole roster of cars that's in there, hidden ones included, there's like 2 of them that I actually like playing as, maybe 3. You know what I'm saying? But if you would leave those cars out of the game, then it makes the game less appealing, right?
So Kongs is saying, so no screenshots of the gameplay or car selection menu. It doesn't matter. This is what John gave.
No, he's right. No, B is right on that. Because
what's that?
Because it goes back to the thing I've been asking.
Oh, he's saying that they didn't show that. They didn't show that. I apologize. That was my fault.
And that's a big deal. Okay. It's a big deal because the main thing I've been screaming and the main thing I've been asking, I said, yo, there's no keypad. How are we handling saves? How are we dealing with this or that? How are we handling? What he said is absolutely right. That's a big freaking deal. So honestly, when I heard this Fast Furious thing, because I didn't know what it was until I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe we're going to get to see some of the UI. We're going to get to see the upgrades. If some of the upgrades are still there, which makes me wonder.
Yeah.
Does it say NOS on the screen, or is it just N2O for nitrous?
Yeah, that's a good
questions.
point.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Well,
this is the
that's
stuff that we
another
didn't know.
thing too. On the original flyer, it did say 20 customization options, and I think that that would be a nice thing to include. Just as far as information goes in this, like how many customization options do you have? And it just makes you wonder, like, is there going to be anything else missing? But with that being said, it's pretty hard to tell how they could pull anything, or pretty hard to think about how they could even pull off leaving anything else out of the game at this point.
Well, can I ask a question then, real quick, just because that goes with this licensing, and I want to throw this out also to the chat room. So, if the licensing for the Eclipse, the Supra, the Arc 7/Arc 8, whatever it is, if it's expensive, couldn't they pass that off to us, the users, now that these cabinets are Wi-Fi enabled? Couldn't they say, like, these are downloadable extras? So, in the event, let's say they charge an astronomical amount for that. They could negotiate that in that the customer that owns this cabinet pays, say, $25 for 2 cars, and you get, like, the skin kind of like what you would do in, I know Mote's eyes got big, but like you would do in Fortnite or Call of Duty when you want a new skin, you buy it, right? So why couldn't you pay for the licensing that way, or offload the licensing to the customer that's buying it with a base load of cars, and then
You just did your Trump face again.
It-
My favorite when
this,
you do that.
listen, this is huge, okay? This is huge.
I
Pay
don't- I don't-
attention. This is huge.
I don't care if the cars are black,
Listen, I don't
blue,
care
green.
if the
yellow.
cars. Listen, it's gonna be huge, and we're gonna make Fast and Furious great again. Okay? Okay. Now,
Okay, look here. This is interesting. Because I asked Travis to send me like any information that he had like on the licensing side of things, and he, of course, like, he doesn't have a whole lot of information over there. He's not a licensing expert or anything like that, and definitely doesn't claim to be. But he did find this, and he says, looks like Raw Thrills may only have 8 cars licensed even today. Their current FNF has 8 cars, and if you go to the website, and you look at their Fast and Furious arcade, Steven, I don't know if you can go there, but
what's that?
I was saying, which part did you not hear?
Well, no, B's sending me some footage that he has here. I want to pull it up real quick.
Okay. Well, anyways, so in the current version that's in the arcade right now, it says secret missions, 6 wild tracks, link up to 8 games, incredible drifting, shortcuts galore, 8 supercars, and QR code stats. So, I mean, that's currently today. So if Raw Thrills, if Raw Thrills only has the licenses for 8 cars, that's another one of those things I was talking about, one of those relationships. You have to wonder how it correlates with their relationship with Arcade 1-Up. And then another thing that he just mentions is the problem isn't cash. The license holder didn't want to be a part of it. And that's another thing that you can't really fight when you're releasing a licensed product, is like, if the license holder doesn't want to give that license, or for whatever reason. And I'm sure that over the series of movies and franchises that have come out with the Fast and Furious, like, there's been weird relationship and money things, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing, though. I would agree. I don't think you can blame Arcade 1-Up or Raw Thrills for what they can or cannot get in terms of licensing. But
Right.
it does go back to what we were all saying.
Right.
This should have been, they should have been upfront about this. This should have been day one before people started putting in to buy this cap. People should have known this. That's what I blame them for. Not the fact that they
issue.
could only get 8 cars. It still
agree.
sucks that there's only 8 cars in it.
Agreed.
But if that's what you
I
can do, that's
agree.
what you can do.
Yeah.
That is the major issue, is that, like, out the door, this should have, that flyer that we had, and it should have been articulated very clearly that it's 8 cars that are selectable total in between both games. You're getting 8 cars, period.
Yep.
Like, I think that should have been made crystal clear, especially for, like, the more hardcore crowd.
Okay.
By the way, Stephen, we got a super chat from.
Go ahead if you want to read that real quick while I have to pull something up here.
Yeah, so Toxin $1.99 super chat. Thank you very much. He's asked, would you pay an extra $100 for all the cars?
No.
No.
And no,
I'd pay
and it's not,
$300.
it's not that I don't have a problem
Just
playing
kidding.
for DLC. That's fine. But even on Forza Horizon 5, VIP pass is only like $30 for like a bunch for like 25 cars, bro. Like they're all licensed cars. Ain't no way in the hell Arcade One Up's getting $100. No way. Sorry.
You know what would be interesting, and I know this isn't going to happen, but this is an interesting idea, is if they actually had a model where the license holder said, okay, hey, if you want to, add our cars into your game, then they basically like write up a deal where you can actually pay like $5 for a car, and then you can download that car into the video game. Like, you'd think with all these like corporations that just want to make money and do business, that they would do something like that. I think that would be an interesting plot twist.
Real quick, I invited B to jump on because B, you sent me this footage here. First of all, welcome.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi, B.
Hey,
B.
what's up, everybody?
My shirt.
So
Here he comes in with his smooth jazz voice. He's got that smooth jazz voice. He's like, "Hey, welcome back to the Wave 88.9."
The Wave.
So I'm going to pull this video up here, be a little bit. It's at 4:05. So why don't you explain a little bit what you were explaining to me here?
So this is the Techno Parrot version of the ROM. So I don't know if this is the real one that Jade has, but this is the car selection screen. So that's all I was asking, because I spent just a little time going through it. So even that green Eclipse, I played the whole game thinking that was the Eclipse from the movie, and then I come to find out like that's the 2003 version of the Eclipse, not the actual one, because that's the movie one. So I was like, so even on the real game, even on the actual cab, it's not the same Eclipse that's in the game itself. So I was like, oh, if they're gonna change that, then that's why I was curious if there was actual video of the car menu selection. What if they still had cars that look like it, but then they're just not named that way? So I don't know. I just wanted to share.
To be fair, we haven't seen any footage from the actual Fast and Furious game. It's all been Tokyo Drift.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
they have not shown any Fast and Furious
Everything
yet.
has been Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
And so yes, but to answer your question, B, this is it's the same thing as what I have in my
On yours?
arcade cabinet. But I was thinking like when that came out, so it came out in 2004, I believe, which was a couple years after the first movie was released, and I think maybe the second. And I'm sure that it must have had to do with the licensing for the vehicle at the time. They're like, no, you're not putting that old car in
The
here.
old
Here,
one.
put our
You
new,
got to
put our
sell
new
the
car in
new
here.
one that's out right now.
Right.
So we can,
Yeah.
that makes sense from a marketing standpoint. But it's not nostalgia, like from even having the car on the outside of the cabinet. You think you should be able to drive that car that's on the actual cabinet itself. So if they're already taking liberties in that level of the game, I'm sure like they're just waiting for people to unsuspectingly not notice that several of the cars aren't there. But that gets me thinking, right? 8 cars on that little ad though, but there's 2 sets of different cars on the drift cabinet and this one too. So that's okay. Just more questions, and I haven't really tested out drift more, but at least that's the menu selection screen for Fast and Furious.
So I have to wonder if between the 10 cars that both games shared, if they basically took the cars from that list. They took 8 cars out of that list, the shared list, because there was 10 cars that were shared between both games. So I'm wondering if they took 8 cars out of that, and those are the cars that we're getting. And if the reason for that is like because they have both games on one cab. It's just a theory I came up with.
Yeah, so it would be the same set on both games, is what you're thinking.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Quite an interesting theory.
But do you agree that you think that Arcade 1UP should have came out with this list the day they did the 1UP show, and like in the beginning? Like I feel like we shouldn't be finding this out after a lot of us pre-ordered this cabinet, right?
Yeah.
That's the issue I have.
I just face palmed. I'm sorry. I just face palmed. I'm reading the chat. I just face palmed.
What did I miss in the chat here? What are we?
The game is based off of the Tokyo Drift movie. They just called it Drift.
Well, then why did they do the graphics with Drift then?
No. I'm reading.
no, he's-
Again, I'm reading the chat.
Gotcha. Okay.
Again, I'm reading the chat.
Okay.
He's
why Facebook-
answering somebody in the.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Darn right, you're sorry. No, I'm
Dude,
just kidding.
I'm doing
To your
I'm
point,
doing
though,
100
Steven,
things at once.
I do think that the information about the cabinet, especially with like changes to that, maybe not like right up front in the press release, but on the inside information of like, that one up show or when they're doing those releases, stating some of those features and changes, it's going to be left up to the hardcore fans of the original games to uncover the stuff that's missing. So I think if they knew those changes were up there, I think they might have been able to address saying this isn't the exact version of the game. We got 8 licensed games out of the original 12. They were saying things like that with NBA Jam and Blitz. Like, we got 90% of the roster ahead of time, right? So I think they've done that in the past. And something as major as like a car selection menu, which isn't as bad as like a character on a fighting game, right? Because that's an omission of that is a big deal. Most of these cars will run the same, whether or not they are one or the other. That's the issue I had with the gameplay itself. I played 2 different versions of the cabs and I got all these upgrades. I still crashed the hell out of that car. I don't think they run differently or better. It's just like a skin for anything. So if there's no gameplay performance upgrades, then I think your average consumer is not going to care. But it would have been nice for them to get in front of saying that it's not the exact same as the
Yeah, no,
game.
it's a freaking cruising game. It's not Gran Turismo. The games, the cars are all going to basically play exactly the same.
But it has
matter what they
the
look like.
upgrade features though. That's like a major point of like saving states. You can upgrade your NOS. You can upgrade your steering. I'm like, does it really upgrade my steering? I couldn't tell.
Yeah. No, at least on the arcade version, it does. But you definitely have like that feedback, force feedback adjustment, which, by the way, another thing that I noticed is, and I think they said this on the website, that this features rumble. It's not force feedback. So just for anybody who's confused about that, there's a difference between, mainly for the chat, force feedback and rumble. Force feedback is going to be where you're receiving like an actual resistance or restraint from the steering wheel as you're steering it, and then you may have rumble in that force feedback. But rumble itself is just like, if you're holding an Xbox controller and it vibrates, like it's essentially the same thing. So pretty much the same thing that was on Ridge Racer.
Yeah, force feedback returns your steering wheel back to neutral, so you get returned back to your zero position.
Yeah.
It's interesting, because I still think we're summarizing here. We're still in the dark. Like I think we need more definitive answers on this. I'm reading the chat.
I think that it's, look, at this point, you pretty much know what you're getting. You're getting all the racing tracks. You're only getting 8 cars. You'll have 8 cars total to choose from, and you're losing 30 frames per second. And again, I think that the major thing is just like, hey, it would have been nice to really let everybody know right up front, like, so that people know what they're pre-ordering, exactly what they're pre-ordering. And those are very important, prominent details about the game itself. And so I think that the 8 car thing it's like, where are you at on that? Like that's a huge mistake in my opinion. As far as like the licensing and stuff like that, like their relationship with Raw Thrills and Raw Thrills relationship with all these license holders and stuff like that, and then Arcade 1UP, I have no idea how intricate or how deep that goes. And that is something that people do need to keep in mind, before just like going completely buck wild on Arcade 1UP and ripping them to pieces, because like there is a serious level of intricate detail that goes into licensing. And I'm almost certain that Raw Thrills, since they did the development for this and the port for it, and it's their baby, I'm almost certain that they made a lot of decisions involving the way that this game was ported and what, as far as licenses and stuff like that. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say that, because the message you read from Travis earlier were saying that Raw Thrills themselves only had 8 cars. And so Raw Thrills probably conveyed that information to Arcade 1UP, and they probably were just like, all right, cool, sign off on it. Let's go with it. And then we'll handle the PR that's going to come from the backlash. So that's probably absolutely what it is.
Well,
yeah.
If you guys give me a second here,
I think
We're-
they've given you like
walk like,
like
Egyptian.
Well,
16.
so yeah, I'm doing 100 things at one time, but we're gonna get some answers here because the man is here.
Hey, Travis.
Hey, everybody.
No.
Hey.
No, you
Hey,
have to be
hey.
full of energy. Travis, you need to come on stream like, what's going
Yeah,
on, please?
seriously.
Listen, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause we on the show now. Hold on. Matter of fact, listen,
Uh.
it's just our show now. We just shooting stuff and they just here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
He's not here for that. He's here to eat tacos with me and talk about the Mandela effect.
Well, I think he froze real quick. I don't know if he's getting some
Travis did
things.
freeze.
I don't know if he's
There we
getting
go.
some things.
I'm
There he's
Oh,
back.
well,
There he's back.
I'm back.
There you go.
He was blurring his
Yeah.
background. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
So, so I got a bunch of information. I'm just getting it. Like I'm just now getting it as the show's going on. It's weird. So 30,000 foot view. So many games that Arcade 1-Up has released have been altered because of licenses more than most of us know. Even more than I knew before the last couple of days. In other words, a lot of the things that people blame Arcade 1-Up for have nothing to do with Arcade 1-Up. It was take it or leave it. And Arcade 1 was like, well, our fans say they want this game. We're going to give it to them.
Right.
Now, you could say, and I would argue, that at some point, so many sacrifices are made that you should just go, nah, never mind. Like, that's my thought. I think if you make certain cuts to a game or something to a point where it's barely like the game at all, you just go, well, we couldn't do it. That's the way I would do it. But from what I've been able to tell and kind of being in the background, it feels like a project will start a game. They'll start everything, all great intentions. They did the right thing this time, going to the actual developer of the game to bring it. That was the best possible thing they could have done.
Definitely good.
An amazing thing. And then I think some of the people that were dealing with that weren't communicating with other people in the company. And now, and this right here, a complete hypothesis, but based on some of the things we know, some of those people don't work at Arcade 1-Up anymore. So I believe there's a bunch of communication breaks because I know for a fact that some people don't even know some of the things you guys are bringing up right now. So it's a lot of like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. It seems like I've noticed this is why I said on the very first One Update show, they don't have the attention to detail to be able to do pro cabs. The attention to detail and stuff like this is again lacking substantially. Like you can't argue that.
Yeah.
In this particular case, though, it appears that they went into it with all the best intentions to get things done exactly like the arcade. And when they got into it at a certain point, I don't know how deep that was or anything like that. I'm hypothesizing this point of it. Things started to change. They couldn't quite get it to 60 frames a second. Some of the licensing is no longer available to them for whatever reason. Like this is the things that might happen in future games too, depending on the games. Like this is why, a lot of times you'll hear John talk about, oh, you don't want to do pole position because it won't be the same. I don't think that really matters. But I think if you think about that in other games, we're not even aware of how some of the licensing is so screwed up right now for some of these games. They're owned by multiple people. Some of those people don't want anything to do with other companies. So in this particular case, it's completely possible that car manufacturers don't want to be associated with Fast and Furious, which means they're not going to be in any of the games to have anything to do with it. So while they might have been cool with it back when it was a brand new movie and it was the hotness, maybe in 2023, they don't want to be associated with that crowd anymore. I mean, who knows? Just literally, it could be something just like that. So you have these weird layers to this. On top of that, this game, completely done by Raw Thrills, apparently Raw Thrills has made some decisions on how this game works that are weird, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, of course, like removing the guy in the convertible, right? And then not putting in GTA's been doing this for years, like not putting in fake cars or whatever. Like you could do all that. But I think they've also done something else. So Jayde, since you have the actual Fast and Furious 1, how much of Fast and Furious Rush, I wish it was Rush, Drift.
Same.
How much of Drift have I played?
Yeah.
Not as much because my security dongle for my Drift just took a dump on me. So I barely played it at all.
Okay. So the reason I ask is because I would want to know, do they play similarly? Because this is a very important question.
Do they play similarly?
Yeah.
From what I experienced, yeah, the feeling of it is similar. I mean, like for me, I actually put my Drift PC into my Fast and Furious cab, the sit down, and to me, like it didn't really feel very much different at all.
So one of the observations you guys have made is most of the screenshots and videos have been of Drift.
Mhm.
But if correct me if I'm wrong, most, if not all, of the tracks from Fast and Furious are in Drift. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that answers the last question that I had. So this game is basically Drift divided in two,
Yeah.
literally. So they apparently have taken the code base, because it's the same basic code base, taken Drift and then cut it in half. And then one is Fast and Furious with its things, and then the other half is Drift with its things. And that's why everything looks like it's coming from Drift, because technically it is.
But
Even
the
though
game
you're
interface is different. So there really is no original Fast and Furious on this?
Technically, from what I'm being told, it is basically Drift cut in two. Maybe I don't know that they've changed. I'm not sure if they've changed the interface on Furious.
I don't understand how they would like cut it in two though, because Fast and Furious was like the big game and Drift was basically like an add-on or an upgrade. And so I don't understand how they would use Drift as a base and cut it in half, because if they were like, if you're talking about like the overlays and everything like that, like I mean, like, I don't know, my mind is kind of like exploding right now. Like
you cut it in half, you code in the freaking, like you said, the overlays and the UI, you add the attract mode from part one, and then boom.
But that's why I asked. That's why I asked.
Oh, wait. Are you saying that it's basically all of the tracks together with a Drift format? Or are you saying, so are the games each separately selectable? Let me ask it that way.
They are separately selectable, but because they use the same code base, because that's why I asked you how differently they drive between. Are they much different? Probably not.
No.
Did not take the code from Fast and Furious and put it on this machine, and then Drift and put it on this machine. They put Drift on this machine, and then like
oh no.
Make sense?
And at this moment, Travis MCP has officially killed this cabinet. Oh no. Oh no.
Moat is about to have a heart attack.
Oh no. See, listen, I ain't fall for the okey doke. I kept my money. Oh no, it's not me.
It does explain why they've never like called out and said the gameplay is from Drift, and they're saying it's the Fast and Furious, because originally they're like, show the gameplay of Fast and Furious, but it's the Drift gameplay, not the actual original screen overlays for Fast and Furious, which the car lineup is slightly different. I haven't played Drift yet, but one of my other things that I noticed about original Fast and Furious from the emulation standpoint, it's I don't know, something about it's hard to control, and I don't know if that's actual the game hardware itself. Maybe the original game is hard to emulate, because it's hard to emulate. That's why I was surprised that they got it working.
Did the Mafia come to your house and like beat the crap out of your Legends pinball?
This little thing right here? No.
It's like sitting in the background. Yeah, like sitting in the background. Like they took
I got
a
a
baseball bat
Legends
to it.
Micro, and like it's cute. And the first thing I do when I get a new toy is I open it up. So yeah, it's already.
Oh, okay.
I took off,
you just
I
got
took
it.
off
Okay.
the lockdown bar. Yeah, I just got it. I've been modding up my stuff.
Anyway, the long and the short of it is this: you know, if all this stuff bothers you, cancel your pre-order. You're not out any money.
Yeah.
I don't know what how this is going. This is why I'm so interested in what Jayde will review. And here's the other thing: if Arcade One Up was really trying to hide all this stuff, A, they wouldn't have come out with that sheet of all the stuff when they did, and B, they would not be sending it to Jayde. They would not be sending Jayde.
Yes, they would. Yes, they would. Yes, they would, because they sent Twisted Chris God doggone Killer Instinct. Yes, they would.
But that's because you know what? It was a good cab. It's a great cab.
Yeah, no. That's not what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying because she has it and she can be critical of it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So that's my point. That's literally my point. That's why that's why I don't think they're trying to hide anything. I just think, and a lot of people go, well, they're all this conspiracy. No. I just don't think I don't think they're actually smart enough to do that.
I just wish they would. I wish they would announce this though when it first when they first did the update show. And that falls on John because John did the update show. Like, he should have had this information. If he didn't have this information, I get it, Travis. You're saying some of the guys that started all this probably aren't at the company anymore. So maybe that's why he didn't have the information.
I don't know
Right.
I don't know if John had that or not. I will say this. I pushed the reason why you heard there was a 30 frames per second cap on that video.
Thank you, because that's a
Yes.
big deal, man. Listen,
That's
listen,
that's a
30
huge deal.
The difference between 30 and 60. Listen, if a Mario Brothers game is in 30, like Mario 64, you don't care. It's Mario. But anything like a racing game or a fighting game that requires motion to look smooth, oh no, it makes a hell of a difference.
Yeah.
Even
But-
cruising, like it makes a difference.
But look, cruising. By the way, cruising on 64 was not a very good port, and it had frame drops constantly. So I don't
absolutely.
think that's.
And
that's
I
a good
think that
example.
was
like
at
a locked
25.
30 FPS. I think is totally doable for this game as long as you're not having major frame drops. If it's
Yeah.
locked 30 FPS, I think that it will be good. It'll be fine. I mean, is it obviously 60 is going to be better, but it's like I used the example before. If you're playing like Horizon on PS5 and you're in, high fidelity mode versus high frame rate mode, I mean, the only real differences perceptually is that it, feels quicker,
It's
but you
smoother.
lose your visual fidelity.
Yeah,
and,
it's-
and
You're
that-
not
that's
gonna
really
you're not
it,
gonna
though.
tell that much. You're not gonna tell that much when you're playing it. Jade, when you do yours, do a side by side. I did a side by side for my video. I pulled up video that somebody else had done of the arcade, and you can notice a difference when
Mhm.
you're seeing them side by side between the 30 and the 60. I also
Oh,
feel like
sure, yeah.
there's lighting effects missing from this game. The
Yeah,
cars
it
in
did-
the
it did
arcade look a
look
lot
visually-
shinier,
Yeah, it
and
did
there's
look
a lot more
visually like
lighting
there
effects.
wasn't as much.
So
Yeah.
there's definitely some stuff missing
Mo,
in terms of that post.
are you thinking of something?
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna need y'all to play something else besides Monopoly Plus. 30 frames and 60 is a hell of a difference. Like, no,
No, it is.
No.
It is. No,
Or nobody's saying it's not a
it
difference.
is. But I'm just
But
talking
if
about.
you're
No, but
playing
it's-
the game. I don't think you're going to notice it that much if you're just when you're just playing the game.
It's
I
gonna be
think if
harder
you,
for you
like
to
I said,
notice
if you
when
do a
it's not
side
right
by
next to
side,
you.
you'll notice it.
If
Yes,
you
that's
have
what I'm
it
saying.
Yeah, you'll notice
Yeah,
it.
exactly
You'll
what I'm
get eyes
saying.
used to it. But if you played the game a lot at 60 and then come back to 30, it's gonna hurt your eyes. Now, for me personally, like
It's
some of these cutbacks, like, are not. It's weird because you can't even place all the blame on Arcade One Up. The only thing you can place the blame on Arcade One Up is to release this at all, right? To go, oh, there's a lot of cutbacks, but but they're probably so far into it that financially they have no choice. Is my guess.
Right.
Like I'm just guessing. That. And at some point, you got to go. We are, listen. Development costs are anywhere between $200,000 and $600,000 for these games on Arcade One Up. That is no small bit of change.
But-
right? You can't just say we're out of this.
Travis, what
Well-
about? I don't know how long you've been listening, but what about
Yeah.
my idea of to offset some of the costs to say the consumers that want these specific cars, that they could strike up a deal where it's like it's kind of like what you would do like with Fortnite, anything else when you're buying skin, Call of Duty, you pay for the skins. Was that even something that could be entertained with the licensing of these cars?
I think first of all, I don't. The one part I don't know is if Arcade One Up directly connected with these car companies or if it's Raw Thrills, because of course Raw Thrills had the previous contact with these companies. I don't know if Arcade One Up even was a part of that, and that's an important detail because as we've seen, Arcade One Up has the ninja of licensing under their umbrella. The person who got MVC2 done where no one else could get it done. So. Had they had that in there, maybe they could have. But
I need to interject. We're not talking about the game running online right now, chat. We're talking about licensing. Just want to throw that out there.
Right now. So the answer to that is, I don't think that ever would have been on the table for a number of reasons. Number one, they've never done anything like that before, so they have to come up with some whole new pricing strategy that, of course, people would push back on that. Why don't you just give us the entire game?
Okay.
And secondarily, the licensors themselves. Again, I don't know if Arcade One Up talked to them directly, but regardless, we're out. They were like, we out. If you look at, again, I think Jade said something about this. The current game that they have only has 8 cars, which I think is a breadcrumb of what's going on this arcade, because if their current arcade is 8, you think the number 8 is just some generic thrown out random number? It matches the exact number of cars that they have in their arcade. There is probably something connected.
Well, I think it's the wording that John used in the show where he said, we didn't get the licenses for a few. And Bill, you brought up 90 or like, well, I don't say 90%. What did you say? 70% of them are missing.
Well, two-thirds of the cars are missing, basically. That's a little more than
that's
some
where
cars.
we had the problem with.
The thing is, I don't know if he even knew how many were missing, because when I had talked to him shortly before that went live, he seemed to be under the impression that most of them were licensed. And this is what I'm talking about. The left hand doesn't necessarily know what the right hand's doing over there. And I've personally seen this on other situations where I tell someone something that's going on in the company and they're like, really? I'm like, how do you not know this? I don't work there.
Yeah, and that's also what I was kind of talking about earlier on in the stream, is just like I feel like there's so much going on with a game like this as far as the franchise licensing and all this other crap that goes into it. And then there's like clearly a disconnect between like either A, Raw Thrills and Arcade went up, or that and people inside of Arcade went up. And then, you have all this other information that gets, kind of like, I feel like we have to like pull all this stuff out of them. And it's like, we shouldn't have to pull this information out of them. Like, it's just like Raw Thrills putting stuff up on their website. Like, all the information is right there. Cool. Like, that's what it should be, and that's what you get. You get what you get. I mean, as far as like the game goes, like, does it still have the potential to be a good racing game? Absolutely. I honestly think that this game could potentially, as an arcade 1-up cab, I'm talking about as an arcade 1-up cab, could be better than Ridge Racer, because it is very, it's in the cruising lineage, and there's a lot of like gameplay mechanics that make it a very fun game. So does it have the potential to be a really great game and a good port? Sure, but I think that it's more about like people knowing the facts about what they're really getting and what they can expect to play, and so on and so forth. I mean, like finding out things like you basically explaining to us that it's the drift and they like cut it in half is like, I mean, my mind is still trying to process that. Like, I don't really understand,
But to be,
and
but to be
obviously
fair,
it's going to be something that
I'm not saying it's not going to be a good game, a good racing game.
But it's not Fast and Furious, though.
It's not Fast and Furious.
But that
now
point,
it's not even the game.
the marquee title of the
Yes.
cabinet and its design is a completely different game then. Like, even the user interface of selecting the cars and the upgrades and everything, it looks completely different if it really is just drift cut in half. I mean,
Now, let
the
me be
tracks may be
clear.
the same, play the same.
I've seen a lot of footage that has not been shown to the public. Having said that, I have not seen the screen where you choose between the two and then you see those things. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if they then rebadge the elements. I just know the code base is all one thing, which is why I asked Jade at the beginning, do they play similar? Do they feel different? Because that's why I think they did that. And again, not an arcade 1-up decision, to be clear.
Yeah, sure,
Arcade 1-up didn't ask
sure.
them to do that.
Well,
But let me just say this.
That's
before-
why we said this is not your fault. Nobody should be pointing fingers at you either,
Right.
because you didn't have any information until
Don't
what?
shoot the messenger.
Yeah, until the last minute. Travis
They're
sent
gonna see
me.
anyway, but-
Travis sent me a message in case you find this on another stream somewhere. He sends me a message. He says, "Hey, I just got some more information." So I said, "Hey, do you want to jump on and deliver it?" So that's why he's here. This is the first he's gotten this information.
And this is the last thing I'm going to say. My guess is it's going to be a really fun cab. But I guess if you go into it expecting the arcade Fast and Furious, you're probably going to be a little disappointed, or maybe a lot disappointed. So if that's your bar, don't get it. If your bar is, I want the authentic arcade Fast and Furious experience, you probably don't want to get it. If you're looking for a fun racing cab, you probably will want to get it. If you want the first ever linked up cabs from Arcade 1-Up, you'll probably want to get it. Again, wait for some reviews. But that I think that's the best way to go into this, is like, okay, if you're into it, trying to get this arcade original game, you're not going to get it. So just go ahead and cancel your pre-order, be done with it. Don't frustrate yourself any further. If you want a fun racing cab, maybe grab it or wait for the reviews and then see what the reviews say. And if the reviews say
or wait until it goes on sale.
Or wait until it goes on.
or just order it, sit on it, and wait for somebody like Buy Stuff Arcade to like put out a new box, and then they put the actual Fast and Furious 1, 2,
Okay,
whatever
here
else
let me
is-
say this though.
whatever else.
Let me say this though.
I'm kidding.
Like you're saying that, but here's the thing. And B even just he said it when he came on. Like the Techno Parrot or whatever it's called does not emulate the game's like correctly. Like you can play them,
Right.
but it doesn't emulate them correctly. And I think it's important to understand that like even, I mean, what's the frame rate like on that emulator B?
The emulation is okay. The controls are really bad though. And so what I just sent Steven just a second ago, when at the start of that clip was the screen selection menu.
Let me
So,
go back.
I mean,
I'll go back
even
to it.
the-
Hang on a second.
Yeah, just even the selection menu is different. Like they're two completely different games. And so I think that's just if they did go that route of using the same kind of base interface and then just saying these tracks are the Fast and Furious and these tracks are drift tracks. I have an issue with them calling the marquee game Fast and Furious because again, like the screen selection right here, like so you're going left and right to like pick your car. Like he's picking different colors, he's changing cars by pressing the button there. There's no scroll wheel like you saw in my game where you were picking the cars out. So it doesn't even show you how many total cars there are. So that would be
But
like
it does say drift in the upper left hand.
it does. So it does say drift on there. So I would really be interested in seeing the menu selection screen. I think we just need to see more gameplay of it. And this is now Fast and Furious Legends. I'm just
pretty much. Like Jade, I was like Jade. I was cracking a joke. I was cracking a joke when I said it. But I mean, that's what I see in my comment section. People are like, I'm just gonna get it, and I'm just gonna put a buy stuff arcade box in it. Blah 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 blah. That was what I was saying. I mean,
I wouldn't do that because it's gonna be the only official port from Raw Thrills that you're getting of the franchise arcade version. Like I get that people are saying that, but like if you think about it logically, if you want any opportunity to own something that was done by Raw Thrills and put on a arcade 1-up machine that is an official port of this game, this is your only opportunity unless you want to go out and buy both of the arcade machines separately and then maintain them. So I mean, from that point of view, like this is the only way that you're going to be able to do it this way, and this is going to be the closest thing that you're going to get as far as like a official port of the arcade version.
Travis, can I make a request that maybe you can run this back to them? Last night on the weekly retro party, they showed the 4-player with the cabs linked, but this is what they showed. This is what they were given. Can we get somebody to walk behind them with a cell phone with the 4 cabinets in line and just kind of going up so we can see, that they're all in the exact same location? Hey, listen, there's a couple guys might want to buy 2, might want to buy 4 because they just want it for that. I'm being serious here about that.
No,
if they can do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think my guess is they just thought that people really just care about the gameplay, and they're not necessarily wrong. But to your point, and I agree, my expectation of what I was going to see was what you described. So I totally get it. I don't disagree at all.
Yeah, I think that kind of like the big picture thing here is this is like legitimately the only official port that you're going to have of this to play on an arcade style platform. And that's the fact. Okay, you have Cruisin' on Wii, which is just basically a paper shredded version of the franchise, and rebranded by Midway. And then you have Techno Parrot, and Techno Parrot is not going to run the game properly. Even if you have a powerful machine, you're still going to have issues with the graphical emulation within the game. So, and not to mention steering, shifter, all those other things that go along with it. So, I mean, and I'm saying this not to defend anything. I'm just putting straight facts out there. Like those are the facts right now of what we have. And if you're on the fence about this, then wait until it goes on sale. I mean, wait until it goes on sale right now, because it's probably going to go on sale in like 3 to 5 months.
Or wait until Jade's official review video where she compares it directly to the one.
Wait until you see a good review video about it.
Yeah, I think the one thing you also need. This is just another cautionary tale of us trying to get our retro love back for these games, realizing that things have changed since they came out, and license holders are such a complicated thing right now that. And again, MVC2 was a miracle. I was told a little bit about how that actually came to be, and it was crazy. Like it was a big crazy. And I think future games are going to be, especially if they had any kind of licensing attached to them, are going to be very difficult. WWF WrestleFest, forget about that. Be upset now, because if it comes out, just enjoy what it is. Just know now going into it, it's not going to be WrestleFest. Okay, just know that now. There's no way. Anytime something has a deep license moving forward, it is going to be very hard, if not impossible, to get the old game 100% moving forward. That's just the way it is. Period. End of story. Be mad if you want. That's what it is.
I think that's a good point, and it also correlates with why arcade 1-ups like 80s cabs were, they were so much easier to accept just as far as their simplicity, because the games, they weren't the kind of games where you have all these different licenses and names in them and stuff like this. Like, you're just basically like getting that game, like Star Wars, for example, and the Star Wars games. It's not like Fast and Furious, where it's much more complex. You have all these different license holders that are mixed into it, a movie franchise, another company that originally made the game, and same thing with Marvel vs. Capcom 2, as far as the licensing end of it goes. So I think that it is very important for people to at least have some understanding that licensing is a very complicated thing and can actually affect the outcome of a port of a game, whether it's to console or to arcade 1-up, especially as we get into newer games like FNF and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, for example.
No, I think that's good for setting expectations.
It affects games after at certain points in development. There have been games that have been almost at the finish line, and they've been completely changed by the licensor at the last second. It's happened multiple times. Has happened recently, like very recently. So yeah, I mean, it's.
But I guess the issue that I had with it, and you can tell me I'm wrong, that's fine. I'm okay with that. It just seems like since the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 whole debacle, it feels like arcade 1-up, even though they have other people working on it, then they kind of went to NFL Blitz. It was after the pre-orders, they were like, oh yeah, there's not going to be late hits. Oh yeah, we're going to be missing some of the roster.
The NFL Blitz thing was told on day one. They told you there weren't going to be, the roster was going to be there late. We knew that at the very beginning. They actually, the Blitz, I would argue that minus the online portion, that was the best launch and the most transparent launch they've ever had. That was before I talked. All that stuff on the table.
I think the online was the big issue.
Yeah. On that one, I would agree. Yes.
I mean, I think the whole point of this conversation, like at least for me, and I know like a lot of you guys on the panel care about this, is that like the audience or the people who are in this community are at least like aware of what's going on, so that they can make a more a better choice for their collection, or whether or not they actually do want to invest in one of these cabs, because I think it is important for somebody to be out there saying, hey, these are the facts, this is what's going on, and this is what you're going to have to choose from. But keep everything that we talk about in mind, and think about what's going to be best for you at the end of the day. But I think that this conversation is a very important conversation that needs to happen.
What's funny is, despite all this, and I've never really been interested in this cab at all, until I started seeing some of the gameplay footage. I would have bought this cab even with these issues if it was online, if you could play online. I would, because ultimately racing games against other people are some of the most fun games you can have, whether it be Mario Kart or Gran Turismo or whatever. Like, after a while, I'm going to be done playing against computer. I want to play against people. So the sooner that arcade 1-up gets multiplayer online play with racing games, then I think I'll be.
So is that for sure coming? Because that's what people have been saying, that
There's
the only
no
way
way.
the only way you're going to be playing it is if you have a second cab. At least that's what I've been seeing from people that have.
The reason why, I kind of explained this somewhere, but the explanation is, let's see, the easiest answer to say, there's just not enough power in the system on the chips that they have now. However, the new Rock chip that came out is substantially more powerful than the one that currently arcade 1-up is using. The new Rock chip is the one that At Games is using for their 4K lineup. And I remember reading it's like 2 or 3 times as powerful as the existing one. And if you get a port like this on that, like, that thing can run complete PlayStation games and everything. Like, it's like a very powerful system on a chip. Most of these games would be able to run it. The reason why this particular game can't run online is because when this game was made, the connection between it and another car had to be under a certain budget. That budget could be anywhere between like 5 to like, I was talking to a developer about this, like 5 to like 20 milliseconds. You will never see that on. You will never see that on the internet. You will never see a 20 millisecond continual connection with someone else on the internet. So because of that, it breaks. And the only way to fix that is to do basically rollback in a racing game. Now, rollback, as we've talked about for MVC2, is a very processor intensive thing because you're basically running the game 2 to 3 times at the same time. And this chip can't even do 60 frames a second, so it can't run a second chip. So in other words, if it did have enough processing power, it would be online. So it's like, as soon as they get past over that hump, which I believe this new Rock chip is going to start opening that up, and this is my opinion, then we'll start seeing things online. I think sooner rather than later, my opinion.
So Fast and Furious is on the same chipset as VC2?
I don't know which chipset it is. I've asked about that. I haven't heard back. But regardless, I do know that the Arcade One Up has not. This thing has been. I've known about this game since end of last year, which means it's been under work for better part of a year. Which means they've only ever had access to the chipsets that they had back then. So it's not that powerful.
Yeah, I mean, some people, because I had mentioned about VPN earlier, but I tend to agree with you that unless you're doing it with somebody that's really, really close, I think latency is going to play a big role into that. I know a lot of the VPNs, latency, give or take, but you're talking about gameplay here. You're not talking about like watching somebody's video on the network or something like that.
Right.
Well,
So,
I think the other thing is too, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess this is just from my point of view. Like when I buy an Arcade One Up, I'm not thinking like, oh boy, I can play online. Like I really.
Oh, I'm not playing
never,
online. I don't play the other ones online.
I just mean like I never cared about that. So the fact that they're selling these cabs, at least that they are capable of doing like the native thing that they did in the arcade, I think is better than like they did with Ridge Racer or
yeah.
I mean, I guess Outrun, but
I would buy a second one. I already pre-ordered. I would buy a second one if we get one of those blast out sales where they're $3.99 at Best Buy in like 6 months. Then I'll buy a second cab and hook it up and do the 2-player thing, because I think ideally it would be the cab to do it because it's the only one that can do it right now, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I was just a little disappointed because I mean the Eclipse, man, it's just a staple of the franchise like that.
Agreed.
Oh, it just kind of hurts. And that's just my selfishness, okay? But you know, I guess time's gonna tell to see if this is something that we're all gonna enjoy. And as a racing cab, I mean, I play Ridge Racer all the time, so
yeah. Again, just last thing before I go. Again, if you're looking for the Fast and Furious arcade 100%, it's not. Just get over that. It's not a thing. It's not going to happen. Same thing will be WrestleFest. Will not be a thing. Get it and forget about it. Are you looking for a fun racing cab? Everything base that I've seen, it looks freaking fun. So if you're into that, cool. But again, I highly recommend waiting for reviews, whether it be She Lion, whether it be Tech Buzz, whoever it is, maybe 19K Fox.
Fox is getting 2. He's crazy.
Yeah.
There you go. And by the way, if he really does get 2, I talked to John about if someone can prove that they bought 2, link them up and show like a video doing something for them, and he's game, but I don't know exactly what that is yet. But if someone actually does it and the pressure's on, then maybe we can get something cool.
So Bobby 1LU, I don't know what he's saying in the chat room. Breaking, they have added the cab to the app with more details on customization.
Really?
Appears to be 2 separate games.
oh, that's
So
interesting.
it's 2 games in that you can select 2, but you'll see. You'll see. You'll see.
You'll see.
You'll see. You'll see. That's all I'm
Travis
gonna
is like, yeah, you'll
say. You'll see.
What do you think? What are you thinking, B? I mean, I see you're just kind of like,
I made that comment that like I do feel like we're moving into a direction where they're owning that 3/4 scale brand because they're giving you 3/4 of every single game that you get now. True accurate
That's a great
representation.
Wow.
That's a great joke. That was nice. That was nice.
Arcade 75% up is what I'm gonna be calling all these new games. Like you said at Russell, like setting your expectations. It's like one of those things you're trying to tell people. Travis, you're like, you don't set your bar low, you'll never be disappointed. So it's like, I tell that to my kids all the time, right? Aim low.
Well, listen. Well, listen. I heard that WrestleFest crap, and WrestleFest better be on point. I'm just saying. Look, I know how hard it is to get the license for them people, right? Cool, whatever. I know who can't be on the game. Cool, whatever. But the people that can be on the game and whoever they fill the spaces with, man, listen, that gameplay better be on point. That's all,
Look,
that's all I'm saying.
The app confirms what I was saying about like Fast and Furious. So if you go to the interesting facts about Rush and that, it talks about the 8 cars on each one. It actually shows and it lists them. So all this stuff is there's a bunch of information in the app about it.
But Travis, how do we use the app?
You open it up and type in fast under games when you search. I don't know.
Now, why would you want to do that? Let me see. I'm going to see if I can pull it up on the screen here.
Oh, because it's like
Yeah.
leaderboards.
Oh, they're
and
actually
interesting facts.
listed as 2 separate games.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course they are.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
of course.
are.
Because you'll be able to select them in the, like I said, you can select them,
Interesting fact.
but then read the facts about them. It's very similar.
Decals, N2O, neon tires, body kit, spoiler, engine, landmark locations, drift tour bonus. Oh God, that Pontiac Solstice just hurts my soul. I just think of like that's such like an old man car.
I'm trying to see if they copy and pasted it.
I'm going to see if I can't get this pulled up.
Yeah, because those original tracks that are on the Fast and Furious list, I can confirm those are the same original 12 tracks on the original game. But you were saying that
Yeah,
they are included in the drift, but they added the drift
tracks.
drift tracks.
Yeah.
But it's the same 8 cars on both.
Look at
Right.
what it says for drift. Look at what it says. How many locations were there in drift? Originally 12, but they're showing 7.
No,
Yeah, so that-
19. 19.
19
Because
total.
it's 7 plus the 12.
Yeah.
So
Landmark,
look at the
landmark
thing where it says
locations.
19 facts. It's showing 7 landmark locations for
Mhm.
drift.
Right.
It's just like I told you.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know that like all the tracks are supposed to be correct. They're supposed to have all the tracks in there. I mean, it's just the shortage of cars, I think, is and the 30 FPS are the two big things that were changed in the game.
So, but in drift, you would normally be able to select all 19 tracks, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying
12,
here in this
12
game,
of them
it's
were
only
from the
just
original
7.
game. like
Oh,
you were
I
saying.
see what you're saying now.
So
You know
the-
what I'm saying?
No. Yeah. In the original drift, you in the arcade version, you can select all 19 tracks.
Right.
Yeah.
But what Travis is now saying is that drift game will be just the 7 tracks for drift.
Yes.
And the
Well,
Fast and Furious
not according
will
to
be
the footage that we saw.
Well, but look what it says in the app. This coincides with what I was told.
No, I
Yeah.
think that they're just saying that those tracks are specific to drift. Because like in the video that we just looked at a minute ago on the select screen, you saw all the tracks in there. There was 19.
Oh,
tracks.
no.
That was a
Well,
Techno Parrot.
no.
No,
Travis,
So-
no,
that
Travis
wasn't
might be
Fast-
right because it says there are 7 landmark locations around Japan for you to explore, complete these tracking. Yeah, he might be right because
Oh.
it doesn't say 19.
The footage that I was showing Steven wasn't the arcade 1-up one. That
Right.
was the
Right.
Techno Parrot ROM
Yeah.
version
Yeah.
of Drift.
and that
Surprise,
and
surprise.
that would explain when Travis was like, "Yo, the game is split."
Right.
Yeah, that
That's
makes
what I was
sense.
trying to explain.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's
So
Okay.
our latest
Wow.
speculation
Yeah,
is
but-
that it's just one interface, but
But
the 12
that's-
original tracks are what
Yeah,
they're
but
calling Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
The
But
drift
then,
also,
but then
it
if they
does
do
say
that,
there's
that's
a,
taken out of
uh,
drift.
There's unlockables though. It does say drift tour bonus unlock after completing every track in
After
drift
dr-
tour. Could that be the other ones? That could be the original 12.
maybe.
Well,
But
the
what was
original
the
12 are
difference? We have
listed
the
on
same
under
cars.
Fast and Furious.
But
Yeah.
Is that the
that's
Fast
like
and Furious one?
in the arcade version of the game is what I'm saying is like part of drift
Mhm.
because it's a separate machine. Part of drift is that it has all the tracks from the original plus the additional
Correct.
7.
I understand
Right.
that, but that's not
Right.
what this is.
What they're saying is that like
There are 12 long
because-
cases.
yeah.
Yeah, this is the
the
fast
12
one.
in Fast and Furious.
Yeah, but if you go to the drift portion of it, it says there are 7.
Yes.
These are the 7 landmark tracks. So go
This is
through.
what I was saying.
Go through it. Yeah, that's what Travis is saying. Yeah,
Yes.
that makes complete sense.
Oh, and I'm wrong because it actually says complete each track in the drift tour to unlock the secret 8th track.
Hey,
Right.
you guys want to know something really
So
funny?
It's not even unlockable to get for the 12.
You guys want to
Interesting.
know something really funny? My daughter, I'm not making this up, and there was no prompt for me to say this, but she was I told her that like we were getting one because I have to review it, and she goes, "Oh, are the pedals gonna be better?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Those pedals are just really cheap, and they feel cheap." And I was like, "Oh my God, you're brutal.
Has anyone
hard.
made? Is any third party?
Maybe-
Maybe
Kids are
you
honest.
should let her review the cab.
Yeah. Let her do it. Yeah. Jay compromised according to
But again,
people. Yeah.
I want to be very clear about this. And whoever I like, if someone wants to critique someone about something, it's fine as long as it's accurate. I'm so much about like accuracy. If you
Right.
want to give anyone guff about this was not I want to say this again. This was not Arcade 1-Up's decision. Splitting this game into two wasn't. I say this one more time. It was not Arcade 1-Up's decision. They deserve a lot of flack. Arcade 1-Up does. But in this particular case, that was not their decision. I just
So
Come on.
can I,
This should just be the title, the marquee title should be Drift then instead of
Yeah.
Fast and
Disagree.
Furious.
that was
That's
their
an Arcade
decision.
1-Up decision, then, isn't
That
it?
part was their decision, but how the game was split up has nothing. It was not their decision.
Of course.
But doesn't Raw Thrills still have like say or control and over how they like make the cab look and like the
I
final end product of it if they're doing
know.
like the port for it and it's their baby
idea.
technically?
Maybe if they choose for them to actually want to put that.
so
kind of
so
effort
this
into
is
it,
my
yeah.
suggestion. Since all the content creators go out and speculate on everything, and then you have to kind of come in and clean up the mess. My suggestion is Arcade 1-Up do this thing. It's called a press release that all the content creators get in their email, the thing that we use
Yeah,
for
right.
communication this day and age. So that way
Yeah.
we have all these bullet points that you just put in your freaking app, Arcade 1-Up, and then we could actually talk about this intelligently, and
but-
Travis doesn't have to come in here and clean up your mess.
But see, Steven, if they put it in the
Just
app,
saying.
if they give it to us and they don't put it in the app, then there's no reason for anybody to open it up.
But we're still going to talk about it, so they can still put it in the app. They can put it. They can give it. It's not like we're asking for. We're just asking for the public info. That's it. The accurate public info. Like Travis, how
We
many
just
times
want
have you had
to-
to explain all this stuff to different
First
audiences
of all,
different
if you're
content
giving
creators?
out if you're gonna give out accurate info or discuss accurate info, you're a shill. All right.
Oh, I forgot about that. I'm sorry. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just being real here. Like, this information needs to be out there because we're not even seeing screens. We're not seeing
I mean, it's good.
anything.
It's good that it's in the app. It's good that it's in the app. I think that
Right.
that
Yeah,
that
now-
information needs to also translate over to their website and Best Buy's website. And I think that moving forward, I would say like get this information out there right in the very beginning. And yeah, it would be great
Agreed.
if you just could send it out to whatever content creators so that
Mhm.
the people who are like in deep and want to talk about this stuff aren't passing around
Exactly.
bunk information. And what happens when everybody speculates? What happens?
Yes.
People speculate or content creators speculate and they're just being innocent in their speculation and talking about it. But then where does 20% of that chat go and what do they do with the information? Reddit,
Yes.
Twitter, all these other social media outlets, maybe YouTube. And then you have all this other information that's passing around that people have to filter through. And I think
And,
this
I want to
is-
be clear. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that because I want the info. I'm just saying it needs to be out there. Somebody needs to have this info. I don't care if it's one content creator putting it out there.
That's normal. That's normal though. Like for as much crap as I know everybody gives IRK, they send that out.
That's what I'm
And they're
saying.
Like,
Like,
yo,
yeah.
just don't
get
do
it
whatever
out
else,
there.
right? So yeah. Yo,
But I'm
Jay,
so
you said-
frustrated about if this is how it truly happened, right? Where it is drift, but now they split it out and call it Fast and Furious. Imagine the field day all the trolls are gonna say this was false
Yeah.
advertisement.
Yep.
Straight
You
up the
already-
get-go, the first day they released footage of Fast and Furious, it was the drift gameplay footage.
you know what?
it's
You know what though?
just cringy.
That's where we need to be like, okay, just wait until somebody gets it because clearly, unless they're going to release more footage of the game select menu, which Arcade 1-Up, if you're watching, you need to release footage of the
Please.
game select menu
yes.
and let
Please.
people see what's
But-
going on because what's going to happen is this information is going to get misconstrued and then it's going to blow up in your face even more. So I would recommend doing that, like just out of respect for your consumers and then this community. This
B,
huge community.
are you going live tomorrow, B?
No, I did a show earlier today.
Okay, well, B can go live tomorrow because he did his show today. So send B the freaking footage so he can go live. No, I'm serious. I'm being serious here. Send it to B.
No, listen. He said, "F your family, F what you got going on."
Yeah.
Go live.
I ain't got nothing coaching my son's basketball team. But here's what I would like: if there's gameplay footage we want to see, we need to see Fast and Furious gameplay overlay, game selection screen overlay, and then Drift gameplay overlay. Because like If those two are different, I'll be happy, right? And again, didn't have nostalgia much for the game. I started playing it, I've enjoyed it, but I think it is a misrepresentation to have it skinned as a Fast and Furious cabinet and not have the actual Fast and Furious game on it. Like the gameplay, look, feel, selection for the engine, the car selection menu, it's a different game. And I think that's what I'm like most upset about if that happens.
I'm thinking right now that there's no way it can happen that way. Like
you're more
like
positive.
My good faith right now is like there is no way that they would do that. Like, so I mean, I'm hoping for their sake that it is, because especially if they split it up in the app as two separate games, I'm pretty sure that it's got to follow at least the arcade style overlay of the selection screens and all that stuff. But
right. But that's you just plug that in though. That's not that big of a deal. You just plug that in. You know what I mean? Like
overlay.
Yeah, you just plug that in. Like that's nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the real, and here's the real talk of it. Y'all know how everybody talks on YouTube. They're like, oh, we're gonna class action. They class this. If they put this out and it's not actually the games, it just split up, and somebody can actually prove it. That's how lawsuits happen. Legitimately, like. Realistically speaking, it shouldn't be that deep, but people will take it to that level over time.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that seeing as how it's split up in the app, I'm pretty sure I would think the common sense inside of me says it's going to be two games like it is, if you're playing Fast and Furious Cab or
listen to what Travis was saying though. Travis, like in his wisdom of saying, set your bar low. It's the same back end for two games.
I hate when you hear that. Set the bar low. That means you already know it's going to be.
That's never a good start.
You know what I'm saying? You just have to deal with it.
Travis trying to set expectations for disappointment, man. But I mean,
listen, if I'm wrong on that, you're going to be
I
happy.
hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong.
Yeah,
I hope Sheline's right. I hope you're right. And it's amazing. It's two separate games. Two separate
arcade one up.
No,
send somebody.
Bet some tacos on it.
No, I honestly think it's going to be two separate games. Look, we're talking about programming tricks. Really, we're talking about here is programming tricks. Just to get the most out of the chips that they have and whatever shared resources and all that kind of stuff. I will be very surprised if it's not split into two. It's split into two games and made to look like Fast and Furious and Drift. I'd be very surprised.
But it would make sense. Though.
We'll find out.
I mean, it would make sense. All they literally would have to do was just show some gameplay Fast and Furious. That settles all that.
I cannot believe that we've been on here for almost 2.
I was just gonna say. I was gonna say
we got to nothing else today.
No, that's right. We'll save it for next week. But I will say this: I got quite the workout switching between 6 people.
Yeah,
here.
you're the
man. Setting up other shots and stuff. So I just
you have to at least show off the Space Ace cab. People need to see that.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll pull it up here.
Go ahead.
You can talk real quick over it. There it is. Yeah, you West Coasters all got it already. Mine doesn't come till Monday.
Can I make not a suggestion? Oh, look at that! Everyone got one except for me.
Bro, I said the same thing. I said the same exact thing. I was like, wait, what?
Make a Dragon Slayer review and then they'll send you one. Honestly, that's all it was.
Listen, they sent me something. Anyway,
where is it, Steven? Play my segment.
Yeah, play her segment.
Oh, jeez.
She's demanding.
She didn't say
she's
please.
Like, you can talk over her. She's just
no. You're just like, yo, play my
Wait,
segment.
are we talking? Can we talk over the audio?
Yeah, you're talking over it right now.
Oh, okay. I'm talking over the audio. Hello. Yeah, no. So, anyways, the unboxing experience for this is, it's as good as it always is. You got the wrapper on the box there, and it comes out of the box. No. Okay. All I really want to say though about this is that I never actually played the dedicated version of this cabinet, and I only played the conversion cab. So I was very interested in seeing what it looked like, and I actually went on YouTube and started looking around to see if anybody had one. There was a couple people that had one, but it does come with like all the stuff that Dragon's Lair came with. And it does use USB 3.0, which I really like. But of course, the cab is beautiful, and my review will be out probably this weekend. It was just really cool to see such an accurate, scaled down version of it. And like I said, I'd never seen this in the arcade. I'd only seen the conversion kit. So did any of you get the conversion kit?
I think B did. Didn't
No,
you?
B had the
did you get the
dedicated.
conversion one, or did you get the
I
dedicated?
got both because I'm lame like that.
I
and
thought
bought
you
both
did.
of
I
them.
thought I saw you
Yeah.
had gotten both.
I got the dedicated one coming. I did not get.
I got a dedicated one.
I
too.
thought it looked unique, and I didn't remember it either. The conversion kit's the one I'd seen, so I figured I'd get the one that was a little more unique.
By the way, I'd like to point out that I was right, as people are.
I was
pointing
going
out
to tell you, Bobby One ALU
Oy
said
vey.
proof that Travis
Wait,
is right.
wait, what? You were right about what?
about it being
Just-
split. in two. So the leaderboards, there's only 7 leaderboards for
7 tracks.
tracks for Rush, and then it'll be 12 for the other.
Rush?
Real quick.
Wow, you are smitten.
I'm always on
smitten.
Rush. I want Rush. Can I request a live stream when you get it, that you do an unboxing and build live stream, and then of course order Taco Bell while you do it?
That
It'll
was-
take me
yeah.
3 hours.
That's not fair,
5 hour
bro.
stream.
Yeah, that's not
What?
fair.
I'll
cares?
do it.
Jade takes like 5 hours to build a cabinet.
That's
I mean,
okay.
Bro, she did like 45 minutes to open the
She
control
reads the
panel.
instructions and
You know what I'm saying?
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
He slams that shit together in 30 minutes. It's ridiculous.
Yo, it's
Yeah,
efficient.
you gotta
Listen,
get a
it's
drill.
efficient.
I'm gonna drive down
Right.
to San Diego. We'll do it together.
Well, Bill, I think I'm going to save your segment and the other segment that I have for next week. How's that sound?
Yep,
Is that
that's
cool?
fine.
Is that cool? That way
Yeah.
you don't have to do it, because I think we've kept everybody here long enough. Travis, before we let you go, let's put it out there. The next One Update show, when's that coming out? Are you even allowed to say that? If not,
I don't know
worry
yet.
about it.
So I was talking to John today about like what we should do for the next one, and if we go along with what we do for the next one, it'll be a cool show. It'll be a
Okay.
good, like, feel good show. So as the dates come up, I'll let you guys know.
Cool. Mr. B, what do you got besides coaching basketball tomorrow?
A request for Travis. So when you do the One Update show, can you
Yeah, get it in
brand
there.
the intro the One Update show instead of that One Up show? And then when they do that One Up show, take off the One Update in the top
Yeah.
left corner.
So
I
I
don't-
told them I need a new intro. And they're like, just use that one. Like, bro, you gonna keep out on that too? Can someone
Yeah.
edit them together?
That's a a message.
That's
to
fair.
Mason, I'm sure, to make another thumb or
Mhm.
something for intro. But then
I
even
agree.
on the official Fast and Furious release for that
They
One
didn't
Up
turn it
show,
off.
it said One Update in the corner.
They
and
didn't
I'm
turn
like,
it off.
come on, they didn't turn off the StreamYard thing. I'm like,
They don't know how to
come
use StreamYard, bro. I mean, that's John B out there. You don't know what he's doing.
Wait, somebody was supposed to be running that though. Like,
I don't know.
I think everybody over there that runs their digital media and marketing is like over 50. I think they have like arthritis. and they
Wait a
forget
minute.
Things.
What are you trying to say about us? over 50 people?
You have arthritis and you forget things.
What do you got, B?
Wait, I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
We're letting B shill here a little bit. What he's got,
Nothing, yeah.
what
You know,
videos he's
I'm
got
just
or whatever.
building stuff. I was playing with mini crap earlier today, Steam
Nice.
decks and things, and yeah, it'll be fun. So
Cool.
want
Well, I
to be tear
appreciate
apart an
you.
Ale Necro.
Appreciate you jumping in here and
Thanks.
at least joining us for this conversation. This
My first
lengthy
time on the Tech
conversation.
Buzz, I think. You have a very fancy system to get into this thing, so kudos.
Appreciate that. Mr. Moat, what do you got going on this week? He's
We're
still
gonna take down that video. He
so-
did about Fast
no,
and
no.
Furious 1 hour ago.
right. So legitimately, I've been sitting here for like the last 47 minutes. Like, yo, should I pull that video down that I put up because it just went today? like I've been sitting here thinking like, but yeah. So listen. I'm Harada from Tekken 8. You know what I'm saying? I put a video up. Don't ask me for Sugar Honey Iced Tea. Tomorrow OTG or UAG is gonna fight off an I Got Next trifecta against Brett's Arcade on the Mo Plays channel. Sunday, Roger's gonna take a Welcome to Die. Saturday is my God-given day of rest from social media and content creation. Monday, back alley stuff. Tuesday, chill and kits. Listen, and I know I DM'd you about this already, so I'm gonna just say it out loud. You made a kerfuffle about not having keys to my house. You were now invited to the house. Other than that, I got nothing. Maybe eat some chicken wings and go to the
All right, Jade, what do you got going on?
I should be finishing up the Space Ace review. That'll be out this weekend. I was thinking about actually doing a live stream tomorrow or Saturday. We'll see about that. And then I just, a little word out to the other content creators out there. look, guys, don't speculate about the arcade, especially you, Mike B, because you're gonna ruffle up a shitstorm. Okay.
Ooh, I thought you were saying my name. I was like, I didn't speculate.
No, I saw that. Like Mike B, the nicest guy on
Yeah.
YouTube, is like posting repeated tweets and things on his community posts. Like, guys, we were just talking about like the marketing schematics, and people are like, oh my god, our arcade's dead. Jong's like, I'm gonna kill you.
but where's the lie though? Where's the lie?
Oh, no one said anything about lies.
All right, Mr. Bill, what do you got?
I forgot.
You forgot.
He's over 50, remember?
Hey, yo.
This episode is sponsored by Ben Gay. Ben Gay for your joints.
No, I will hopefully be getting my Space Ace on Monday, so I'll probably be working on that at some point this week. I got to get this all set up for my arcade. And
see, I wanted to hear about that. See, like, I want to hear about that. Like,
Hey,
yeah,
be number 60 to buy the game.
Yeah, well, I bought the game already, so I have it now. But I gotta play around with that a little bit. Beyond that, I got a couple of ideas turning around in this noggin, so we'll see what floats out of that.
So I actually picked up one of these. We were going to talk a little bit about it.
It's the Nomad.
It's the Nomad. I got a really good deal on it.
Uh-huh.
But Stone Age Gamers like, yeah, we have one that's totally recapped and has a new screen in it, and they're like, yeah, we'll swap it, and then you just pay like $30 for the caps and whatever the labor was. So they're going to swap it out, and I'm going to do that probably Saturday, and then pick up my Game Gear that they recapped and put a new screen in. And then tomorrow I have What's Up Next. So you guys want to watch that because I got a huge deal on the deluxe set that had Rob, which I put out a little bit ago, but he was kind of broken, and I fixed it. And I'm going to show you in the video what I did. So we'll have that later, probably tomorrow at some point. I have to film that. So, guys, appreciate y'all hanging out with us for 2 hours. Way to go, Jade.
Disappointment. I'm disappointed. We didn't even get to do trivia this week.
I know. I had a whole thing of trivia.
It's all Steven's fault because he's such a fanboy. He's
What?
So when you watch Game Time, set your bar low. You won't be disappointed.
Is that B? You're gonna take us out with that? Go ahead. What did we learn today? I don't have any sappy music. What did we learn today?
Oh yeah, that's it. You're right. No, Travis MCP told me to just aim.
You just call him NCP. You just call him an NPC.
Is that right? NPC. Is that an NPC?
MCP.
He didn't say NPC. He said NPC.
That'd be fun to see Travis kind of walk around, kind of bump into stuff.
Great.
Yeah. Travis, be real. Be real, man. That's it. Thank you guys for watching Game Time for all your news and games and time.
You have to say factual things, so you can't say that because there's like 10 other news shows that are going to air this weekend. But
all right, guys. Until next time, keep it buzzing.
Oh, what a long show. I gotta use the restroom. What are you doing here? Why are you here? Can't you see a guy's got to do what a guy's got to... You already had me for 2 hours. Like, I got to go. Like, this is scary. The fact that you're here. Just go. Get out of here. Go. Lights out. I got to go. Come on. You got to go. Go. Now.
You're still here? Go home. It's over. Go.
Got something to drink up in here, and there's a little bit of orange juice left in. Wait. What are you doing here? Like, listen, there's an Arcade 1-Up app. Y'all can stalk me all these other places. I can't drink orange juice now. Go to bed. Go away. You need something to do. I'm just saying, you don't need to be up in my fridge. Like my fridge of all places. Come on now. Seriously. No, seriously. Go. Like, this kind of stuff to get you reported around here.
Oh, man, what a long show. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, time to go to bed.
Hello? I think you left this on. Hello? Wow. You guys are all still here? The show's over. That's it. There's nothing left. Go. Go to bed. It's over. Go. No, seriously. That's it. Go. Go to bed. Chicka chicka.